Leasing is a primary tactic in agriculture. It permits farmers and ranchers to operate larger businesses with the same amount of capital, and it can assist beginning farmers in establishing their business. Joining us now is Professor of Ag Law and Taxation at the Washburn University School of Law, Roger McEowen. And Roger, let's start with a few of the most common types of leases.
Well, good morning, Christina. Of course, the two most common types of leases are cash leases and crop share leases. And everybody in agriculture is familiar with those, but there are variations on each of those. For example, you could have a flexible cash lease, you could have a guaranteed bushel lease, you could have a hybrid cash lease. And basically what we do with those variations is that we're tweaking the risk and return that goes to either the tenant or the landlord under each of those approaches. And the same thing kind of with crop share and livestock share leases, too. We can vary the share that goes to the landlord and the tenant under those types of leases.
Okay, can you give us some examples of the leases that you just described?
Sure. A flexible cash lease is one that specifies the amount of cash rent that will fluctuate with production conditions or crop and livestock prices. And so it has elements similar to those found in a crop share lease. A guaranteed bushel lease means that the tenant's going to deliver a set amount of a certain type of grain to a buyer by a specified date. And the landlord's the party that's going to determine when to sell the grain and has an advantage then, or an opportunity to take advantage of price rises and to make their own marketing decisions. With a hybrid cash lease, that's also referred to as a minimum cash or crop share lease. That involves a guaranteed cash minimum, but the landlord has a chance to share in crop production from a good year without incurring out-of-pocket costs. So those are some examples of how a straightforward cash lease can be tweaked a bit.
That's really helpful. Now, I have a question. Can leases actually have an impact on a producer's eligibility for farm program payments?
Well, they certainly can. Of course, the big issue with respect to farm program payments is that to be eligible to get a payment, you have to be actively engaged in farming. Well, if you're a landlord under a cash lease, you're not actively engaged in farming. It's the tenant that is the farmer, and that's the tenant that's entitled to a program payment. So in those situations, you want to vary the type of lease if you want to share in an ag program payment. And the same thing from an estate planning side of things. Often in estate planning, material participation is a key, and in those situations, cash leases can hurt us from accomplishing what we want to do and satisfying certain rules under the Internal Revenue Code.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you helping us out with this very complicated material each and every week. Roger McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law, thank you so much for joining us today. And stay with us. Meteorologist Tim Ross is up next with your forecast at 40 after the hour. We'll be right back after this.